What's going on, motherfuckers? William Barry here. Man, I'm looking a little different here, bro. Hey, what's up, motherfuckers? Coming at you with another video, dude. This video, forewarning, dude. I'm adequately baked on a Tuesday night. It's just try to get warm and cozy, dude. Just had my hot chocolate, dude. I'm feeling real good right now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we're gonna get into this video. This one was brought to us by Buy Me a Coffee here. Oliver said, "Hey man, I've really been digging your Aesop rock reactions. I appreciate you giving an actual attempt to parse through what he's talking about and adding your own insights. I'd like to request Take Me to the Basement. It's a bit of a deep cut, but it's a song that Aesop is a bit more open and less cryptic about himself in." Okay, well, hell yeah, dude. Well, hell yeah. Whoops, that was my own shit. This is like the only one I could really find, so I think this is the right one. If I did this incorrectly, you may smite me in the comments, you know what I mean? But this is the one I found, my man. Let's get into it. This is 16 years ago. God damn, dude, I was a little less chunky back then. All right, let's do it.
To the basement, let me count the holes in your foundation. Ancient ridicule system alert, kissing my lurk. The perch of frail grimace on iron mask. I remember science class. If chemistry could silence the lion's laugh, I'd be fine. I failed to meddling up, adrenaline trades.
That is one thing to think about. Like when we go to school, man, we do learn about, you know, all these systems and rules of thought and how men have oriented themselves throughout time, and women, you know, society by and large. It's a crazy thing when you think about the skeletons that each society has in their closet. And at the core, each one of those societies just wanted to exist. One of the things that's really important, and though I am like, you know, a classical liberal type guy, and, you know, I do defend democracy and all that stuff. And my main thing that I like to defend is like individualism. But like, in order to like exist within a framework or a way of life, you must always be able to critique it, which is why I do like, you know, liberalism at its core. It's so flexible. But we must always be able to critique something from its foundation. And that's cool. I like that he's talking about foundations here. Hopefully, like, he drives on that later. But Take Me to the Basement, bro. I don't know. Look, I grew up, dude. We didn't have I think basements were illegal in Southern California, if I'm not mistaken, dude. I don't think I've ever saw one, bro. Fuck, dude. Because earthquakes and shit. Yeah, I don't know what a fucking basement is, but... Bro, I still grew up, dude, watching that 70s show. Eric Foreman's Basement, homie. Sorry.
Take me to the basement. Let me count the holes in your foundation. Ancient ridicule system alert, kissing my lurk. The perch of frail grimace on iron mask. I remember science class. If chemistry could silence the lion's laugh, I'd be fine. I failed to meddling up, adrenaline trades. The leaves that walked the plank before the crimson struck a match this season. Viridian carpet will jolt your logic when the burn earned itself normalcy for 20 plus. Running my go sink swims, not an option. The lipstick.
That's such a weird fucking cadence, bro. Like, bro, this could be talking about like 20 different things. Well, also, I bet for someone who like understands how he does this shit, like perfectly within reason. But like one thing that's really cool is like that he's got that layered vocal effect to make it like one's talking and you know what I mean? And what he's doing is he's layering it in a way that almost makes it sound like the thoughts are so sporadic that they're escaping radically. Like, you know, I think that's pretty cool, man.
Run him, I go sink, swims not an option. Applied the lipstick slow enough for me to bask in, fast enough for me to wish it lasted past my.
Yeah, dude, put the lipstick on slow enough for me to bask into it, but quick enough for yeah, dude, bro. That's kind of like the whole idea of fleeting beauty within itself, right? Like, brother. Okay.
Basking fast enough for me to wish it lasted past my alarms cackling. The front line of its mystiques geeked off my proposals. Bargains for the ogres who prefer the roller coaster. Well, that'll sip the blood of merry men. That'll grace holiday carols with a merry end. Spiral past the idle crabs. Exhale into vinyl raft and pirate your local rain puddle torturous. Trying to shake polyfish off your dorsal. Then dive through the archives, Xanax on frantic.
It's also got like that I feel like I'm gonna play Alpha Centauri, bro. Like me and the Hive are about to just go ape shit on some people right now, dude. Dude. I miss my childhood.
Torturous, trying to shake polyfish off your dorsal. Then dive through the archives, Xanax on frantic planets. Stamp it with a notable brand to reap the profit. See, I don't know hell, but I've read about it often. Sounds like a dope concept gone wrong. No, take me to the base.
A dope concept gone wrong, dude. Well, that's interesting. I've recently started writing hell as a pressure. No different than God being a pressure. Because, like, we know what hell is, but it's like, albeit from, like, your personal hell in the moment, the hell that we depict on war zones or TVs, you know, or, you know, there's just like so many different layers of what we mean when we say hell, but everyone knows what someone means when they say hell. But like, bro, one of my favorite things in like, and maybe this is just like a Japanese thing, but one thing that's always been really cool is like there have been numerous times when they like show the demon world or hell or whatever, and they always make it like this marble white pristine perfection place. And for me, that's always been sick, bro. Like the idea of like pure white just being like the symbol of evil. Think Stormtrooper, bro. That shit's fire. Sorry, went on a tangent. I'm a little.
But I've read about it often. Sounds like a dope concept gone wrong. No, take me to the basement. Let's zoom into that war pic. Take me to the basement. Let's disassemble the core's rotation. If you choose to build it, you'll die by the tools you build. So make some noise for all your predecessors. Reppin' sturdy me to the basement. Let's deny the.
Oh yeah, it's got like a dreamy like fucking style to it. One thing. You could definitely tell that he's got like a Marxist slant here, which is like pretty normal within like hip hop itself. And it makes sense because like Marxism preaches a lot of things that oppressed people can really get behind, because it does give you that like that feeling of power against a big force, right? So it makes sense that that would be the undercurrent for most hip hop, you know, stuff that's out there, especially because hip hop also is like pretty big in like Muslim communities and, you know, communities that have a much stronger need and want for religion and what the constraints of religion can do in a positive way. Some of those communities really want to reinforce those things. So something that's to me that's just crazy is I like a lot of the critiques that Marxism has for capitalism. I really do. Like, and again, the reason why I like it is because it can be critiqued. Something that so many people in this like political landscape always just fail to do is like, one, the reason why it just always feels like you're doing an uphill battle is because universally it's always felt like the left has been the one party that's pushing for, you know, progress. But something that needs to be said up front and honest is a lot of the radical ideas usually spring up from the further left centers, or, you know, the further left, you know, wings, you know, where really extreme ideas and like that, they eventually filter their way to liberals, and then you have this like weird social cohesion thing where if there's enough people that are preaching about something on the far left, it can then like interject itself into like the mainstream for the for liberals and stuff. And then liberals are usually the ones that voted into power. Like one thing that's like such a bummer that we can't ever even have this agreement or disagreement on is like the further left you go, the more those ideas are necessary. Because what you need liberals for is like that little bulwark of like, what are those people like? What are the average people going to be about when like we push this idea? But like women's rights were spawned from traditionally further left circles. So was the civil rights. They started and formulated in further left corners, and then they moved their way into the liberal area, which is a little more centralized into like you know modern politics, and then from there those ideas were able to latch on to conservatives, and with enough pushback from the world at large and stuff, we were able to see shifts happen. I understand why so many people get mad about the length of something taking, because it just makes it feel left out. And when you defend the status quo, you're essentially defending why those people are suffering. So it's a very complicated, nuanced conversation, but the far left and the center left still need one another. No differently than a liberal needs a conservative or whatever, or a Democrat needs a Republican. There are two peas to the same pod that when they work in conjunction with one another, good things can happen. The only thing I don't like about total Marxism is when they want to destroy everything and replace it with their own thing. And it's like, oh, okay, well, now we're going to be at an impasse here, my friend. But remember, I am a moron that did physical labor most of my life. So go listen to experts on these conversations.
Take me to the basement. Let's deny the nervous room. Take me to the basement. Let's review the heart's ramifications. If you choose to build it, you'll die by the tools you build. So make some noise for all your predecessors. Reppin' sturdy Take me to the basement. Let's remove the costume you escaped in. Hold up your legacy.
Yeah, see, that is something that's really true within that Marxist framework. That like you might have gotten away from slavery, but now you just jumped from one frying pan to another. I mean, Tupac talked about it a lot, and that shit was fire, man, back in the 90s. But like, even though if you were to think about it this way, every time you get like some big promotion, you always think you're about to no longer be the bitch. You know what I mean? But every time you raise the rank, you always just hit another level of bitchness, and the stakes get higher each time. Like, bro, I only wanted to make it into management so no one would ever tell me what to do anymore. And then when I was in management, I had more bosses than anybody. But like, it's so crazy too, because when you're a manager, not only do you have to answer to the public, because now like they're a direct line to what you do, but like you also have to answer for every one of your technicians, and you're like, fuck, man. And then on top of that, you got district managers, then you got VPs, and then you got all these other people up your ass. Oh, bro, I never want to do that shit again.
The basement. Let's remove the costume you escaped in. Hold up your legacies, I'll tell you which one's my favorite. Hold up your alacrity of innocence, I'll teach you about the perks of patience in seminar format. I've won that hat for 7 years, that's why it's discolored.
Yo, that is fucking wild, bro, that he was even calling out the influencer zone like 16 years ago before it became what it was. It's so fucking weird that we have like these weird and honestly, I'm trying to be one myself by having content here on the internet and then occasionally talking about things I like in video games, politics, and music. And I'm essentially a wannabe influencer myself, but like, bro, if I ever have a TED talk, yo, fucking shoot me in the dick, bro. What? Hi. Today, I'm going to tell you how I can wipe my ass while sitting down. And everyone's like, that's not that crazy. While morbidly obese, dog. Like, what do you, like, dog? No. Like, let me tell you how to fail on YouTube for 13 years straight. I got you covered, man. Holy fuck. I say that jokingly. I know I have a handful of fans, and that means the world. You guys have no idea, bro.
Hold up your alacrity of innocence. I'll teach you about the perks of patience in seminar format. I've won that hat for 7 years. That's why it's discolored, ragged, and shitty. Ain't about to toss it when it's been through all these dream wars with I'm an undercover.
Damn. That was like a minor defense of capitalism right there. I've worn this hat for 7 damn years. I'm like, hey. Sorry.
When it's been through all these dream wars with I'm an undercover prophet, thrift shop garb. I'd rather starve than sit inside this gridlock until it parts.
A thrift, it says gar, but I already looked up the lyrics before. Now, I haven't read them all. I just copy pasted that shit so I could put them in the description of the thing. But I'll read them here and tell you what I think afterwards. But, bruh, I know it said God right there because that's one thing that I saw in there. I think that's where I was. Yeah, thrift shop God right there. I saw that shit, bro. Come at me, dog. Sorry. And, like, bro, you have to look up this dude's lyrics. Like, bro, the CC can't even keep up, dude. Subtitles can't even.
Rather starve than sit inside this gridlock until it parts. This tailor-made routine ain't suiting me. It's tight around my neck like 13 loops wrapped in an apple box. Heartless harvest of mine. I'm tired of pissing benediction. Maybe it ain't healthy, but sometimes I'd rather burn than let you help me. It's getting brisk as fuck. My skin ain't thick enough. These icicles ain't civil. How many freezer burn victims can one society on tilt manufacture prior to higher being in?
Yeah, there we go. There it is. That's what we was waiting on. Bruh. That is a good question, man. Like, how many victims do there need to be of a thing before we call that thing a failure? Where is that number? And what do you say to those that fall underneath that number? Is their sacrifice meaningless? Something that, regardless of your fucking political beliefs or whatever, we should always just be more grateful of the things that we do have because of who they came on the back of. Like, but more so, like, even if you are someone who wants to tear down the system, like, bro, it's awesome that you operate in a system that even allows that. You know what I mean? Say what you want, bro. This country, you can fuck it up, dude. We see that right now, bro. Like, these magoids wanted it, bro. They got it, dude. Here we go, daddy. Gave them what they wanted. Now the world hate their ass. Damn, that's crazy. Sorry. That's crazy, though.
Society on tilt manufacture prior to higher being intervening just to release last laughter. And every tree trunk's made of third rails with tourniquet branches. And I learned to walk with an anchor in my back pocket. And man, I read palms during even the most brief handshakes. And man, I ain't alive to pull the weeds around the...
That's actually a sick line, bro. Man, I read palms even in the most brief handshakes. Fuck, dude. Dude. Like, bro, I can't even keep count of the bars, bro. You can't, like, bro, there needs to be a YouTube channel that just comes out and just does a bar counter. You know, like Cinema Wins or Cinema Sins, because that's what was more popular, Cinema Sins. They just come out and do fucking Aesop fucking bar counter, dude. I just want a song, but you need someone who's like so fucking ingrained with the wisdom of bars. You know what I mean? Like, you go get one of those guys that can like spit venom. Or just have him do it, bro. That'd be gangster. Whoever is good with this shit, $1 million idea. You're fucking welcome. I just gave that shit to you, dog. Make sure you give me a subscribe after you get set up. I need one more number. It means the world, dog. I've been losing subscribers lately, dog. You know what I'm saying? We take what we could get. Fuck. Sorry. That'd be sick, though. I'd watch that. And then I'd be like, oh, I never thought of that. Oh my God, I learned so much. Oh my God.
Brief handshake. And man, I ain't alive to pull the weeds around the spotlight. I'm wallowing, following my little lost princess to the promised land, hollering my potent slogan, hell if Nostradamus can, conquering these open roads with throttle pinned to floor, cause I'ma win right after I finish these chores. Take me to the basement, let's zoom into that war pick sensation. Take me to the basement, let's disassemble the core's rotation. If you choose to build it, you'll die by the tools you build. So make some noise for all your predecessors, repping sturdy gorillas. Take me to the basement, let's deny the nervous room. Take me to the basement, let's review the heart's ramification. If you choose to build it, you'll die by the tools you build. So make some noise.
That is crazy, bro. Because we can even like, look, I'm going to use a video game analogy because I feel like it's just easier if we extrapolate all of human emotion from shit. Okay? Well, even though we're trying to invoke some form of human emotion. But like, there's a game I played called Warframe. That's right, dude. It's an awesome game that's free to play. You ought to try it. But don't ask me to help you through the star chart. I've done it about 29 times. And if I do it again, I'm going to shoot myself in the fucking face. That being said, something that's really cool about Warframe is it allows the player to like view some of these ideas in a different setting. One of the big bads of this game you come to learn is called the Orkin. And spoiler, yeah. The Orkins were bad dudes, and they were essentially what happens when humanity goes unchecked. And there are critiques of capitalism there between the corpus and even some form of martial law or feudalism and the fucking way of the queens. And then essentially, you know, the Orkin did a lot of terrible shit. One thing that they did, though, is over and over again, they kept trying to make weapons. And every time they did, those weapons would rebel on them. They made something called the sentience that they would use to like build solar rails to get them to another dimension, or by dimension I meant galaxy. And in that galaxy, they're going to absorb all the resources that were there for their own personal bidding, like they did to our solar system. Anyway, the sentience got there, realized how beautiful all that stuff was and how abundant it had of all that stuff, and came to realize that through all of their travels and work that they were just essentially there to die and terraform the planet so that these people could come in and just take over everything. The sentients said, fuck that noise, we can't let them destroy another galaxy, so they rebelled against the Orkin. They were doing pretty well, and the Orkin almost got completely annihilated. Desperately, the Orkin tried to build genetic monsters to fight them. Because these sentients could control essentially all electronic matter and could turn things into weapons themselves that had any technology throughout them that thought they would make stuff out of like bioorganic masses. Enter this world's infestation / the flood / zombies. But just like with the sentients, they couldn't control them. So they tried to make super soldiers called Warframes, made from the same things, but with a little more of their consciousness intact. Maybe they could control these ones. Nope, they couldn't do it either. So everything was scrapped. Everyone was going to die. They said, fuck it. Then some fucking people got stuck in the void, found something called transference, and then through that, they could control, those Warframes. But the people they used were a little unstable, and they eventually also turned on the Orkin. Something that's really cool is that the tools that they use to build the day are the tools that ultimately did them in, which is an interesting thing to think about as a concept. Many of us do hold on to these things that we call strengths, and these strengths, push us through our hardest and most, dare I say, disastrous times. But what our strengths can also do is once we no longer need to rely on them as a strength, they can start becoming a weakness. Someone who is incredibly stoic might eventually start not having emotions. Some of these things are unlike this crazy pendulum that you always have to work on and maintain. One of the best ways that you can do that is through constant self-reflection. Understanding why you are the way you are today actually helps you place yourself in that world more accurately. But then you start getting into stoicism and then, anyway, I'm just saying, dope line, bro. That one fucking line. I went on like a 20-minute conversation. Bro, chill.
Review the heart's ramification. If you choose to build it, you'll die by the tools you build. So make some noise for all your predecessors. tough and sturdy grilling. Basement, basement, basement. Take me to the basement, basement. Take me to the basement, basement. Take me to the basement, basement. Take
Bro.
me to the basement, basement.
All I want to say is this makes me want to get high as fuck right now, bro. And I'm already there. Bruh, I want to go to the basement with you, dog.
Saying, take me to the basement, basement. Take me to the basement, basement. Saying, take me to the basement.
That's got a good vibe to it, bro. I've recently started making some of my own instrumentals with the help of like AI and shit because I'm dog shit at this shit. Bro, it's kind of relaxing just to listen to that shit, bro. You don't have to think about lyrics. You don't have to break nothing down. You just, nice. You just become that like fly on the wall and just enjoy how high you are. Sorry.
I think the greatest harm done the human race has been done by the poets.
Well, poets are dull boys, most of them, but not especially fiendish.
They keep filling people's heads with delusions about love, 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 love.
Well, that was cool. Ending with like some fucking old ass scene, and then when it goes on the word love, start hearing some girls just fucking, I'm gonna kill. Look, guys, listen, Linda. Okay, guys, look. That is a good question. One of the things that sucks about things that terminate thought is one of the big problems that we have in so many of our societies is that we let the dumb people kind of rule the conversation. And for those of you that might get offended by me saying such things, please know that I include myself in this criticism. I am among a one. See my bro. I just proved it. Okay, I am among the dummies. Dare I say, I am middle of the road, hard stuck dummy, and dummy thick. One thing that really sucks though is that so many of the dumb shit we do takes over the spaces that we inhabit, you know. And you know, that's a good thing for me. I want to get bigger, dude. So like, let me take up all the space. I'll ruin the world with you, baby. Come on. Now, that being said, something that sucks about just dumb fucks like me taking up so much space is that it really gets in the way of thoughtful, meaningful conversations. There is something to be said about the fact that artists do try to find a way to make you feel something, typically. And something that's really cool is they can make you feel any variety of things, from anger, love, joy. They try to find ways to elicit responses in you that you aren't currently feeling, by playing certain instruments a certain way or using words in certain patterns or using someone's beauty to invoke some kind of feeling. That's awesome. And that's what makes art so fun. And what makes art so captivating to so many people. You get to live your life temporarily through another lens or peer through another world. But it also has a lasting effect on you as well as an individual. Music penetrates you in ways that you just aren't ready for. It sounds sexual, and it somewhat is. Many things, like if I tell you you're purple, well, you know you're not purple. So that doesn't do anything like that, right? But if I make enough jokes talking about purple and shit like that, and then I give you enough drugs, and then I start giving you like a religious experience with music, bro, you might actually believe you're purple for a little bit, dog. I can fuck you up, man. Music is a religious experience on the same level as like psychedelics if you're having a truly religious experience with music. And one of the best ways to get there is to be on psychedelics while listening to music. Bro, you can uncover the truth of the universe, but only understand it briefly for a few fleeting seconds. And then it's gone. And then you spend the rest of your life trying to interpret what that fucking meant. Because things can just transcend shit. Being high like that is fucking silly dope. Saying all that to say is that art does scare people, and it should. It should scare people that want control or power or anything of that. Art gives you the ability to think safely, freely, and openly without judgment. And if it does ask for judgment, it asks it of yourself. Bro, never let anyone shit on your art. They can critique in how you get there. They can say they disagree with the message, but your art, bro, whatever that is, even if it's just like how dope you are at doing an oil change. Bro, I know some motherfuckers that have an oil change goddamn pipeline, and by the time 10 minutes go by, their tools are up and they're minty fucking clean. And bro, they didn't skip doing the sheet. I do some of these people, man. People can make things artistic even in the most simplest of things. The way you put away the dishes. Whatever your form of self-expression be, do that, man. And don't give a fuck, man. Anyway, guys, it's been 30 minutes. My girlfriend is about to get home. You should drink, by the way. We're going to have a quick dinner and go watch a ball game. So I'll see you guys in the next video. And Aesop Dog, bro, my dude, you got to stop hurting my brain, because now I have to like go read these lyrics. I'm an undercover prophet, thrift to God shop. I'd rather starve than sit inside this gridlock till it parts. This traitor made me runty, ain't it something me? It's tied around my neck like 13 loops. 13 loop rafter and out. Like, dude, Jesus Christ, bro. Heartless harvest of mine. Like, dude, these fucking bruh. What the
future uncertain, wide as the sea. I see a chance to be freed from apathy. You, my muse, my mirror, my light. From broken blues to sleepless nights, I write my failures into stars, constellations of who we are. Through every scar, the truth remains. We lose to learn what love sustains. In pursuit of tomorrow, we borrow from sorrow.